Hey, so guys, do you have a game that you love so much, but it's like you don't want to play it anymore because you just put too much hours in it, too much experience, yada yada yada? Cause I do. And that game is none other than Dark Souls 3. I'm gonna be real here, I've been gaming more than 10 years now. Like, that's a lot of time, you know? And I gotta say, I think Dark Souls 3 is the game that I replayed and finished the most, like, out of every game that I played. I legit finished this game at this point over 55 times, and yes, I counted them each time I finished the game. Yeah, no joke, 55 times. I have almost thousands of hours in this game. I know this sounds sad, but I can finish this game in 2 hours. Fuck, I'm coping. Anyways, you may think that with this information, like, oh, so Dark Souls 3 is your favorite game and your favorite Souls game ever, right? Well, it's my second favorite, let's say. Dark Souls 3 is my favorite in the Souls trilogy, aka Dark Souls trilogy, I mean, you know, but it's not the best Souls game that is made by From Software. I still think either Elden Ring or Bloodborne is their best game yet. Dark Souls 3 is just second closest. Well, you say, well Zeop, if Dark Souls 3 is not your favorite, why did you finish it, you know, more than 55 times or whatever? And I have a good answer. In fact, two answers. My first answer is, I don't know. My second answer is, because of the modding scene. I have to say, Dark Souls 3 has some insane mods. And I'm not talking about mods that, like, you know, makes you sans Undertale and do the Fortnite default dance. I'm not talking about those mods. I'm talking about the Dark Souls 3 overhaul mods. If you heard of overhaul mods for the first time, well, I guess I should explain what is an overhaul mod is first. An overhaul mod significantly changes the entire game's graphics and gameplay, usually with the intent to improve on the original, but not going as far as being a completely different experience. This can also include, you know, new dialogues, music, or changed dialogues. But these ones are usually rare, like the changing dialogues and shit. Oh, and of course the mod I'm gonna review in this video is Champion Ashes. Now, before we start reviewing Champion Ashes, I think I should explain what Champion Ashes brings to the table, you know? Like, what does it change? What's its content? Does it change old stuff? Does it add new stuff? Etc, etc, etc. So, let me talk about the hell is Champion Ashes. Champion Ashes is a total overhaul of Dark Souls 3 and its combat system, visuals, bosses, and more. Intended to bring greater balance and depth to PvP multiplayer of the game, weapons are made more unique and viable, with new combos, mechanics, and more. Now, if my memory correct, when Ashes first came out, it was just a purely PvP mod, like changes to only PvP, PvP combat, and mechanics, etc. But in the future, we did start to get some PvE changes. Now, I must admit, Ashes first came out, I did not play it because, again, it was just a PvP mod, and I fucking despise Dark Souls PvP. Yes, I said Dark Souls PvP is the worst fucking thing ever created in humanity, and I don't get how people find this fucking thing fun. It's a broken mess of a netcode and all the fucking bullshit. Like, I could probably rant about PvP for hours, honestly, but I'm not gonna, because I will review this mod's PvE side. And yes, you heard it right, I'm not gonna review the PvP aspect of this mod, but I must say, for all the things I see, all the videos I see of Champion Ashes PvP, it's better than vanilla Dark Souls 3 almost, so if you wanna have PvP, hey, play Champion Ashes, it's good, it has private servers as well, so you can game on however you want. I still won't respect you though, just kidding. Unless... Anyways... We got out of topic. Anyways, currently, Champion Ashes is the third most popular overhaul mod for Dark Souls 3. And of course, everyone knows Cinders is the most popular overhaul mod, like, you literally cannot beat Cinders' popularity. But, honestly, that's a topic for another video, so let's just move on with Champion Ashes. Now, I think we're familiar with what Champion Ashes is, so let's just talk about what does it bring to PvE changes. Like, are they good changes? Are there any bad changes? And, you know, all that good shit. So here we go. Now, what would be an overhaul mod without enemy and boss changes? But the real question is, does Champion Ashes make good changes for enemies and bosses Or not? Well, it's... I guess I should say it like this. The normal enemy changes, like enemy placement and balance, is fucking terrible in my opinion. Like, I think what they did for enemy placement is they played Dark Souls 2, the Scholar of the First Sin, and it's their like favorite game, right? So like, hey, Dark Souls 3 doesn't have bullshit enemy placement. So boss, what do you think? We should just make it like Dark Souls 2 because it's whatever. And yeah, we got a result of this. Now, it's not like this for entirety of the game, or the mod rather, but it's fucking terrible up until Fahrenkeep. And holy shit, it actually made me almost quit this fucking mod. Like, I can handle them, but it just sucks to just go into a new area, have shitty enemy placements, die unfairly sometimes, and just, what the fuck am I supposed to do? Like, and can somebody explain why Yellowfinger Heisel's evasion is broken in the Road of Sacrifice? Like, is it intended? Is it, like, am I supposed to beat him later? Like, what? Why is he there? He's not supposed to be there. Ugh, it's frustrating. So, what about the boss changes? Now, some people find boss changes to be more important, and I'm one of them. And I must say, boss changes, except for Crystal Sage, are pretty good. Especially the Nameless King and Soul of Cinder's changes. God, I just want to say, I love how Nameless King can fake one of his attack like almost a For Honor feint and bait you into dodging and punish you. Like, I unironically find that really cool, and I wish more bosses had this in this mod because I think it's a cool idea. Like, you know, plays with your mind because you probably memorize these bosses' moveset because you probably played Vanilla Dark Souls 3 a couple of times, right? And it just plays with your mind, and I fucking love that. And the thing with Soul of Cinder is, it's not a joke anymore, honestly. He is really tough, especially in the second phase. Well, really tough might be an overstatement. I guess let's just say difficult now, so yeah. His second phase is really cool as well. Other cool changes are, Pontiff is no longer a joke since you really cannot repost him after parry, so you kinda have to fight him normally, and he has a cooler second phase transition, so there's that. Yorm changes are really good as well. From a piss easy and a boring boss to, well, piss easy but cool boss to fight. You start with the usual Storm Ruler stuff, you know, like you charge it and you hit it, easy like that. But, and the game besides, oh no, you're not using the Storm Ruler. You're gonna fight him until he has like portion of his HP left, like small portion. And then you have to land the finishing blow with the Storm Ruler. I think that's pretty cool and really creative, honestly. And you know, so much other cool stuff, but I don't want to detail all of them because I think that could bore people. But most of the bosses got, like, you know, moveset changes, like Abyss Watchers has some new moves that can catch you off guard. Most of the bosses have these, except for the DLC bosses. Only DLC boss that I've seen change is Sister Frida, and her only change is, I think one of her attacks is faster, so like you cannot punish her that easily. Yeah, that's the change that she got. Hopefully in the future they will change the bosses for DLCs as well, because DLC bosses are my favorite bosses in Dark Souls 3, and I really want to fight overhauled Slave Nightingale and completely overhauled Sister Frida soon in Champion Ashes. There are a lot of cool new items in Champion Ashes, like new weapons, armors, and spells. Most of them are from other Souls games, from, you know, Dark Souls 1, Dark Souls 2, Elden Ring, and Bloodborne. Also, there are a couple of items, red armors, that I think it's original, like made by Champion Ashes team, because I couldn't find them in any other Souls game or cut content, like, you know, archives. And I really could not find their source game as well, so like, I'm gonna guess they're original, so yeah, don't blame me if it's like some obscure game that I did never heard of. I'm sorry. Oh, and also there's the Vanguard set, which hold on a fucking minute. This is from fucking Black Desert Online, isn't it? You cheeky bastards. Oh, and of course we got some cut content armor from Dark Souls 3 as well, such as the Burial Knight set and Yorm set. Sadly though, we don't have a lot of new spells. Compared to new armors and weapons, there's not a lot of spells, which is disappointing. But at least the new spells are pretty good. Also, the coolest thing this mod has added, in my opinion, is... drumroll please... Bloodborne trick weapons. These weapons are just not reskins, like, you know, you got Saw Cleaver, but it has the moveset of a straight sword from Dark Souls 3, like, not that kind of trick weapons. They're identical to their, like, Bloodborne counterparts. Well, mostly. A lot of these overhaul mods that have Bloodborne weapons don't do this. They're just like reskins, you know? Or whatever you call them, I don't know. Now, we talked about hip cool stuff, new weapons and shit. Let's talk about some vanilla weapon changes, shall we? Some weapons have altered moveset. Like, for example, some straight swords have changed moves, such as the broadsword. Of course, some boss weapons got some love, with some balance and some new moveset. I think a good example would be Wolf Knight Greatsword, which is now closer to Artorias' moveset from Dark Souls 1. Which is, in my opinion, a pretty cool idea. I could show all of these, like, moveset changes for, like, each weapon type, but I think you guys can find them out or just watch a funny video or something with Champion Ashes. So, instead of, like, touching on these new movesets more, I want to get onto new mechanics that this mod introduced, such as feints. Feints are a mechanic in Champion Ashes that allows players to cancel the startup of certain attacks into other attacks. A feint is a move intended to catch opponents off guard by baiting them into thinking one attack is coming and then performing another. Think of it as a forerunner feint, you know, basically. However, because attacks can be only feinted into other attacks, careless use can leave users in a vulnerable position. As you might guess, sadly this mechanic is only probably good in PvP, cause tell me, how the fuck are you gonna feint an AI? Like, how the fuck are you gonna bait them? Also, this is how you feint, by the way. I show a picture here. Another mechanic we got is the power stancing. Fan favorite mechanic from Dark Souls 2 returns with this mod. Sadly, it's limited to only some weapon categories at the moment, and here's a list of these categories. To power stance, all you have to do is just press Y on the Xbox or triangle on PlayStation controller, and on PC just press the button that lets you two-hand your weapons, I guess. Perfect block is a technique in Champion Ashes for a 2-frame window. The defender will benefit from an increase of 30% to their guard absorption and extra 18 stability. After the window has passed, the effect is lost as a result. Perfect block requires precise timing to reap the benefits, you might have guessed. There's extension skipping, and which is a technique added by Champion Ashes. It allows players to skip the initial part and transition immediately to the extension of any 2-part weapon art. And lastly, there's Just Frames. Just Frames are a combat mechanic in Champion Ashes that reward the player for timing their attacks by regaining a set amount of stamina depending on the weapon. Properly performed, Just Frames are indicated by a yellow flash surrounding the player, as well as green glow on the weapon. Oh boy, we're nearing the end finally. So time to give my conclusion and rating for this mod. Even though Champion Ashes starts a PvP mod, it's safe to say it's no longer purely a PvP mod, but it's a mod that PvE players like me can enjoy and have lots of fun. There's a lot of changes, but sadly, some changes like the enemy placements is just terrible, at least up until like certain part of the game, but yeah, it can be kinda bad. And honestly, you PvP enjoyers, if you wanna experience PvP in some sort of new way, you can play Champion Ashes. It's fun, like, you know, you can do it. Oh well, overall I give this mod 7.5 out of 10. I would give it like 8 or 9, but the enemy placement again, wow, almost a huge fucking downside for me. It's not the best overhaul mod, but it's still a pretty fucking good one, and I really recommend people to play this mod first if they want to get into overhaul mods for Dark Souls 3. Anyways, I'm gaming. Whatever. I see you guys in the next video or something. Whatever. Bye.